Holiday in her honor, I need to remind everyone that at the very least I'm going to have to charge Mrs. Wheeler for shooting Alistair. Murder one if he dies.
Yeah, but I'm sure the shooting itself was an accident.
Look, I know you're only trying to help your wife, but that's not what she admitted to earlier. Mrs. Wheeler said she not only intentionally shot Alistair, she shot to kill. And would do it again if she had the opportunity.
Like I said, I'm sure my wife meant that she was acting in self-defense. And just for the record, she'd do the same damn thing again to protect herself from a monster like Alistair. My wife is a good, loving woman, and she'd never do anything to hurt anyone unless she was driven to do it.
Eve, what happened? Is Alistair dead?
No, he's alive, but just barely. We gotta get him to the hospital right away, pump him full of blood if he's gonna make it.
Yeah, well, if he does make it, I got first dibs on killing him.
I'm going to ride with Alistair in the ambulance to the hospital.
I'll follow in my car.
Can I go with you?
Yes, of course. You and Luis Pilar. Awesome.
I'll take my wife to the cottage.
No, I'm afraid I can't let you do that. Mrs. Wheeler confessed to attempted murder. I need to keep her in custody.
Custody? You haven't arrested her.
Yeah, and you shouldn't.
Look, I'm officially holding off on charging her with anything due to extenuating circumstances.
What, because Father's a monster and he deserved it?
Well, off the record, yes. But I can't let her go free. You have to come down to the station.
Then I'll come with.
Fine, both can ride with me.
Thank you.
I'll be right out. I have to call Fox and tell him what happened.
Put Alistair in cubicle 1. Nurse, I want you to get me 2 units of Mr. Graves' blood from the hospital blood bank for immediate transfusion.
Yes, Dr. Russell.
Father survived the trip?
Barely. Avoided a transfusion, but whether he lives or dies now is anyone's guess.
All this trouble to save a monster like Alistair.
Look, I know that my father doesn't deserve to live, but I want to know why he's been so cruel to us.
Because he's evil, Sheridan.
What makes him evil? What makes him hate us so much?
Listen, I got here as soon as I could. What the hell happened?
Mrs. Wheeler here is the one who shot your grandfather.
Well, thanks, but, who are you and why?
Mrs. Wheeler and her husband came back from Mexico with my daughter, Paloma. They've been like godparents to her.
All right, so what does that have to do with my grandfather?
Alistair had Paloma kidnapped in Mexico, and then he used her to lure Luis and Sheridan into the jungle, where he tried to kill them both.
The Wheelers went with us to help us find Paloma. So then Alistair decided, well, might as well just try and kill them too. Okay, so you took aim at him to pay him back. I got it.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure that my wife should answer that in front of Chief Bennett.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Still, though, it's too bad you couldn't have held off on shooting him. You know, we got people lined up from here to there to do that. I was one of them.
But you didn't shoot Alistair Luis. Mrs. Wheeler did.
Yeah, well, can you blame her, Sam? You know, Alistair left her to die in a snake pit along with Sheridan. Oh, my God. Alistair's tried to kill all of us, and you should be going after him.
Luis is right. He murdered my Antonio. And he's responsible for Martin's disappearance.
Look, I know where you're all coming from, okay? But like I said, without any proof, I can't arrest Alistair for anything.
Come on, Sam, you know my father. He never gets directly involved with anything because he's too shrewd. He always has someone else do his dirty work, so maybe we can go after them.
Easier said than done. I mean, my only hope for not having to arrest Mrs. Wheeler is that Alistair pulls through and refuses to press charges against her for shooting him.